Hi guys, it's Lisa Unger, and I am back with my fun little show called Three Good Things. And I'm super excited because I am here with Wendy Walker. I just finished her book, Don't Look for Me. It is incredibly involving, gripping, twisty, dark, layered psychological suspense. I know you're going to love it. And I know you're going to love hanging out with Wendy Walker. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me on. This is so much fun.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you could be here. So I've been doing this now since we started quarantine, which, talk about the ultimate plot twist, right? Like, of all the things, we were worried about in January, I don't think for myself personally, not one of them was a global pandemic. So
Nope.
here we are. So it's kind of, I felt like every day I was getting on um, the computer, reading the news and just thinking it's all bad. Every piece of news I'm hearing is bad. So it's kind of my natural inclination to counteract negativity. It's just a problem I have. So I decided to start hanging out with my friends via Zoom, this new thing that we're all experts at, and just talk about three good things that we love, things that make us happy. And so thanks for joining me to share your three good things.
Oh, it's so much fun, and I agree. I've been doing the same thing. I immediately started making videos and having friends on, and just reaching out for that interaction with other people. So yeah, it's great, and I think it's really held our writing community together.
Yeah, because I think most of us are kind of introverts, otherwise probably wouldn't be a writer if you were an introvert. There's so much time by yourself and you kind of have to be nourished by that. But I think maybe, I might not be as much of an introvert as I as I thought I was.
Well,
I started missing my friends and going, well, they do send us out into the wild,
yes.
for conferences and then, for our book tours and whatnot. So we do get out there and hang out with each other. And there's something unique about, hanging out with your writer friends because they're the only ones that kind of get you in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I have such incredible memories from just 3 days of intense conversations and laughter and oversharing and rosé all day, and just then and you get sort of overstimulated because it's not, we are introverts, and that's a
Right.
lot, I think, for us.
Right.
But the bonds that we make, then they last. So then you have these connections, and you can just shoot a quick text or email to a friend about something, and they get it as something that you're writing. Like, I can't get this sentence or this character or just how you're feeling, and they get it. And if you didn't make those connections in person, you wouldn't have that rapport, right? To be able to have those quick interactions throughout the day when you're writing and you're all alone. So
Oh.
it's good. And actually, I've met and made some new friends through
Yeah.
Zoom and Zoom events, and it's really been nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's definitely a new way of connecting, and I'm sure at some point the world is gonna go back to something resembling normal, I think. But hopefully this will, sort of come forward and be like an augmenting to
Yes.
the sort of the real world stuff that we get to do together. So we'll just get started talking about your three good things. So most writers are readers first. This is where we fall in love with story, right? Within the pages of somebody else's book. And I'm wondering, Wendy, do you have something that you are like reading right now that's really just knocking your socks off, or something that you kind of return to again and again for comfort, like something that you pick up as like a touchstone? Is there anything like that in your reading life?
So I actually read a lot of thrillers to blurb, and so I don't have it's not like I browse and look for something that interests me, although I love thrillers, so they all kind of interest me on some level. And I actually loved your latest one, which I will hold up, Confessions on the
There it
7th
is.
Time. I loved it. But I read something recently which is so outside of my normal path, called The Bright Lands. It just came out.
Oh, I
Um,
just read
Sean
about that.
Graham. Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
give a shout
dying to read
out.
this.
Yeah, and you know what's great about it is that it's so unconventional in its theme. It is outside of my normal path because it has a little bit of supernatural stuff at the end, which in my mind was metaphorical almost. It wasn't just there. It was, you could see it as being an actual metaphysical event. I sort of saw it as a representation of the darkness that the author was trying to explore throughout the book. And it was atmospheric. He did so many things that most of our editors would, you know, slash, slash, slash. Like he had multiple points of view, so many that I was at one point had to go back and figure out, wait, who's this character that's speaking now? And he talked about that in some of his Instagram blog interviews and things. And but it was refreshing because he's a new writer and he just didn't care. He's like, I wanted each of these characters to have a voice and for you to hear them in their own voice, even though they're all written in third person, like close third person. And it was fascinating, so well written. The themes were so dark. And the characters really, each one of them came to life in such a unique way that you just wanted to return to them anytime he brought them back to you. It was refreshing in that it was like somebody let a writer out of the box that we are sometimes put in with all of our rules. Like, you can't have too many narrators, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't, you know, mix genres and swear too much or whatever.
I don't follow any of those rules. If there's a rule book, I didn't get it.
They're general things, so, you
Yeah,
know,
of course.
and if, you know, after you've been writing for a while and reading and reading and reading in your genre, you start to get into a lane, and it's sometimes you veer outside of your lane, but this is like driving on the other side of the road. I mean,
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
it really was a good reset for me to feel like, you know what, like, I'm gonna drive in the other side of the lane. Like, it was really inspiring that way as a writer, and as a reader it was just interesting. So yeah,
That's cool. That's great. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I always think that if anybody starts telling you what the rules are, then that's a good time to start breaking them.
Right. Yeah, well, that is true. That is true. This was like a real, it was so fresh and so uninhibited. Maybe
I was literally just reading about it, I think minutes before before I called you, and I was like, ooh, that sounds awesome. So that's so funny. I was just thinking about that. So I'm gonna definitely put that on my.
He's got a big career ahead, I think. He's very,
great.
very talented, like raw talent and
Awesome.
insight. Yeah, the ability to write that many characters, men and women and different ages, with authenticity, and each one with a different voice. It was really, really good. So yeah,
I'm excited.
Nice little treat.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
What about like television and movies? Is there something that that you're watching right now that's kind of really thrilling you, or is there, you know, again, is there something that you kind of go back to? Like Ocean and I rewatch things all the time. Like, we're currently rewatching Eurovision. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I did
You
not.
just want a super goofy, hysterical laugh. This is the movie for. This is the movie for you.
So I end up watching a lot alone because my my sons they watch different stuff than I watch. But I started watching Scandal. Like, when the pandemic started, I knew I was going to need a show. I knew I was going to need downtime every night with a show that was not too dark, and that I had a lot of them, so I wouldn't have to be searching. And I know it's an older show, and there are like 7 or 8 seasons or something. I'm only in season 4. And
Oh,
so
good. That's perfect.
it's like my go-to. I'm going to sit down and eat dinner alone because the boys are off playing rock band or something. And that's my like glass of wine, dinner, show. And it's just, really well done. And I know what it's going to be. Then I will usually look for something that's going to really be a little meatier, like in terms of darkness. And I just watched a show called Blood, which has 2 seasons, was so compelling, just really, really great little series. I think it's based in the UK, and it was on Prime. So I look for shows like that. I look for shows that are going to be just dark mysteries and dark family.
Has that like always been your go-to?
Yeah.
Even before you were a writer?
Yeah. I mean, I've always, I definitely love a good romantic comedy, but I feel like they're so hard to find.
Yeah, there aren't that many great ones.
It's just they always add something supernatural or something. I'm like, just give me the old like 1980s,
You've Got Mail or Seattle or
yes. I don't know where those are, but I usually I apologize. I'm turned off my phone, and now I've got something else going off, but I'm turning it off now. But I loved The Killing. I loved that show.
Yeah, that's a great show.
Oh my gosh, 4 seasons of that.
Yeah.
And
those actors both went on to do like so many interesting things. Like she's in that other Amazon Prime show, Hannah. Yeah. She's just such an interesting actress.
Right? She's so good. Yeah. It's so the characters really have to pull me in, and that show, I vaguely remember what the plot was about because it had 4 seasons, but I could watch the 2 of them walking around, chain smoking,
exactly.
for hours, and I've been happy because. And then Fleabag was actually.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. My God, that's so brilliant. She's brilliant. She's
brilliant. And if I could erase my memory of it and
watch it again,
I would do that every day. I'd be like, Zeke, oh look, a new show, and I would watch it again and again.
Oh, it's so brilliant. Fleabag really is awesome.
So brilliant, and it
again with that like character development, it's all about those people, right? Like what's actually happening to them matters not at all. It's just about those people.
And the backstory that's revealed so slowly.
Yeah.
But when you get the first hint in the first season that there is some trauma, like backstory trauma, family stuff, and then you're just dying to know what it's all about, and it just develops so organically.
Yes.
And the writing is brilliant, and yet so funny too. So you're amused, but also touched.
You're like, oh, it's funny, but ow.
You feel for these characters, even because the sort of sarcastic humor is coming from such a place of pain.
Yeah.
That you feel for them.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And I don't know. I thought that show was brilliant and one of my favorites. So kind of all over the map, I guess. But
no, I think that's good. I mean, I think that there's definitely a theme to what you've said about all these things. It's like, and something that I, fully believe as a reader and a writer, and that's that, character is king. We get involved with the people in our stories, more so than the plot. Like you can have the most brilliantly constructed plot, and of course there's a complete union. One doesn't exist without the other. But if you could have this, perfect plot, and if people don't care about the characters that they're reading or watching, then the plot means nothing. The stakes are small.
And actually, when I read so many books, that what I find is if I start skimming just
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what's happening with the plot,
Mm-hmm.
then I know I haven't been brought in properly with the
Right.
characters.
Right.
And
Right. Exactly.
it's tough for me because I need like a lot of darkness in my characters to really attach to them. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
that is. Maybe from writing them so much. But it's interesting that that's what I'm hearing about Don't Look for Me. Is I wrote for the first time two really sympathetic, likable, hopefully characters who are damaged and have their issues, but they're not unreliable narrators. They're not they're not the villains, and they're not evil.
Mm-hmm.
They're both supposed to be, likable characters, and I was worried that that was going to be something people were disappointed in, because so much of my genre of psychological suspense is sort of hinged on that, right? The unreliable narrator, the unlikable narrator, the narrator who turns out to be the villain, with an interesting twist at the end that reveals it. And so it's but yeah, I really need to attach to my characters in
Mm-hmm.
whatever show or TV or anything. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
but I like that character as king. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that on a Post-it note and
That's
put it on my computer.
So in another thing that most of us are doing now all the time is cooking, right? I mean, we have our whole family home, and everybody's like eating every meal together, and I mean, which was always kind of the case for us, but we now are cooking all the time. So is there anything that
Yeah.
you're like your go-to, or like is there a comfort meal that your whole family's like, okay, like we've had a day, we're going to make this thing or order this thing or whatever. Like a lot of people have come on and been like, you know what? I just don't cook anything.
Yeah. I'm actually, so I can cook. I'm not a great cook, but
Yeah.
I'm proficient. I don't like to cook.
Okay.
So if I'm cooking for just myself, I'll have like a salad. Like I'll have a salad, like a really finely chopped salad, and
Mm-hmm.
glass of wine, and I'll be perfectly happy. But if I'm something that like is a comfort meal if I'm cooking for my boys and myself, would be like, double stuffed potatoes. And
Oh yeah.
I make them actually for my family on the 4th of July. We have a big family reunion, which was cut in half this year. And there have been some years I've made 35 double potatoes, and you have to bake them. You take all the stuff out.
Yep.
Tons of butter and cheese and salt, and then you mix it up and you shove it back in, and you put another piece of cheese on top, and then you bake it again. And it's just that with anything, like with lobster.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, 4th of July we have it with the lobster. With my kids, a lot of time with steak or barbecue chicken, and it's like so, like, I'm sure
It's comforting,
but it's so good, and it's just butter, cheese, potatoes, and salt. So
how could you go wrong?
my palate is clearly very unrefined. That this is what I enjoy, but
I don't. Yeah, my husband makes the twice baked potatoes as well, and that's like, I mean, that is like a huge event in our house when there's like twice baked potatoes. Like, yeah, of course, I'm sadly dairy free, so it's all like kind of vegan. It's like olive oil, butter, and like vegan cheese. But to me, like I haven't had cheese in like 10 years, so to me, it always tastes like. It always tastes like cheese to me, so I'm happy. But it's like one of my favorite things that he cooks, so that's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's good. And my kids all like them. So that's the other thing, is now that everybody's moved back home,
Right?
I've had two that have been living on their own, and they've different things that they've grown to like food wise. So
do they cook at all? Do they ever do any cooking?
we're getting there. So yeah, so we're getting there. So we're and yeah, like they can do eggs, they can make egg sandwiches, they're learning to do the grill. And yeah, which is actually a benefit of, I think, them being home. And
Yeah.
because, you know, at college there are meal plans and takeout and restaurants, and it's
Right.
so easy to not cook.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been a benefit. I don't know if they would agree, but
Probably not. Yeah. The
I'm
kids
not sure
are,
that.
I think in some ways the kids are, getting the worst of this moment. And I mean that
100%.
only like in a luxury way. Like if everybody's well and can be home and be safe, and that's a blessing, right? I mean, that's the best case scenario right now. But I think for the kids, it's like, I know for my daughter who's 14, it's basically like all the fun got stripped out of her life.
It's
So
really, yeah, I think for teenagers, you know, where so that social development is so important.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that is difficult. And then I've got older kids who, one graduated from college without a graduation, and the other just
no,
finished its first year of college, and had to come home for the second semester.
yeah,
And it's like they're on the brink of both on the brink of something totally new and exciting,
yeah,
and to get pulled back from that
yeah,
is really, really hard. And I think
yeah,
probably something that they will remember for the rest of their lives, how this
for sure.
moment was interrupted. And I mean, for me, like, I always work from home, so
Right.
yes, my life has changed in terms of who's living at home now, and I don't see my friends and I don't get to see my family, but my day-to-dayness is
Exactly.
you know
Mhm.
but for them, I think it's really, really significant for that age group.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully they'll be able to have some more interaction in the fall.
Yeah, and I hope that, like I think in some ways maybe if we want to put a positive spin on it, as parents, we'll look back and say, that we're grateful to have had this extra time
Yeah.
with them. And I kind of feel that way about my daughter who's 14. Obviously she's like just on the cusp of like learning how to drive, and like being, you can see her how she's just like sort of becoming herself and becoming her own thing, and that's right and good. But like for this time now, it's us, it's the three of us, like we're doing our thing, we're exercising together, we're cooking together, and it's like, yeah, it's obviously for a 14-year-old, like nobody wants to be with their parents all day every day, but
Right.
she still likes us, so that's nice.
Right. That's good. Yeah. I think
So at some point we'll look back and go, well, we had this extra time with her, and I think I'm gonna, be grateful for
Yeah,
that.
and I think what's been a gift for me is that, uh, usually when the kids go in and they come back, you get spurts. So you get it's vacation, it's Christmas, it's
Right.
holiday, and and the and everybody else is around. So it's not like you're not seeing them, but you're not necessarily having those conversations that you would have
Right.
when you're together 24/7. Like you just see something on the news, and then you comment to your
Right.
now grown child about what's on
Right.
the news.
I see one of them.
He's going
He's like,
like,
I'm out of here. I don't.
I'm
Why are you
out of here.
talking again on the
Now you're
computer?
talking about me, so I'm gonna leave. I know. There's literally nowhere in my house I can go
Yeah.
except outside with the lawn guys. So there's no place in the house. I had to do a session, like a formal book talk with a panel, and I put a painting in my windowsill in my bedroom and created like a fake
Yeah.
room. I like took a painting off the wall. I shoved it with duct tape in my windowsill, and then I sat on a stool so that my head was right there. And I was like, if somebody took a picture of me,
Yeah, if somebody
out
can
of
see
the
the
room,
whole thing.
and like that is what she's doing. But it looked like I was sitting behind this really nice painting in an office. But
Awesome.
it was the only place I could go. Anyway, but the nice thing is that you have these conversations that are spontaneous and in the moment, and then your child responds to you, and you get to know them in a way that you wouldn't necessarily get to know them ever.
As who they are
Because
now, you mean? Yeah.
yeah, who they
Yeah.
are now, that they've been in college for 4 years, and
Right, right,
yes, you've seen them, but not all day for days in a row where you're done talking about the catch up stuff and the big stuff.
right,
Now
right.
there's nothing left to talk about.
It's just the day to day of being together.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. So it's really been I think nice, and then to have the opportunity to have conversations come up about life and about the interruption of life and what's
Mhm.
important for your happiness, and
Right.
checking in emotionally and
Mhm.
talking about the things that make us happy,
Yes.
the small things versus the big things, and keeping routine. And we were all exercising in the basement,
Right.
um, usually different times, but everybody's working out, everybody, trying to eat together. And it's that is a gift, but it's
Yes.
you know yeah, a little bit of a silver lining, I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely. Well, thank you for sharing your three good things with us. And I'm glad we get to catch up and talk. It's been a while since we've seen each
Yeah,
other. Probably the last time was at VoucherCon in
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah.
So we were just like
And it
shit.
was a quick like,
Like,
hi, hi.
hi, hi. Yes.
You know, there's so many people that you can't, yeah, you
I
can't.
know those conferences are always like so, so crazy. But yeah, so hopefully we'll sort of look ahead to 2021.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think
yeah,
that's how everyone's looking at it. Like, just get through this year and look forward to
yeah,
2021.
we'll see what happens next year. And in the
Yeah.
meantime, stay well.
Thank you.
And
You too.
if you guys want to check out Wendy Walker, her book is fantastic, and it's just wendywalker.com, right? That's your
WendyWalkerBooks.com.
wendywalkerbooks.com. And I'm sure most of us are going on the road in this like kind of new way this year, like the virtual way, so I'm sure that all of her appearances and all the fun stuff she'll be doing for her book will be on there.
Yep.
And
Pre-order links as well. And that's, the other thing I've been saying to people is that pre-ordering, everybody's going to have to order books online. Like,
yeah.
not a lot of bookstores are open and they're doing curbside or whatnot.
Hmm.
So, um, any book, Lisa's book, like anybody's book that's coming out, that if you pre-order now, then you actually have a better chance of getting it closer to pub date, because then the bookstores know to order enough copies and have them in stock and
Hmm.
can mail them right out. So if there was ever a time to pre-order books, it's during the pandemic. So
Right, right. And then also a lot of places too. I think this is another good opportunity or another good moment for, I've noticed that more people than ever are turning out for the virtual events because, some people have never been to a book signing or can't go, or they live in a town where they really don't get that many authors visiting and stuff. So, but they've been like longtime readers. So this is like their first opportunity to actually come to an event. And I think that's a really cool thing about this, is that it's kind of opening up this possibility for readers who can't always get out to book events. So that's a kind of a neat thing too about what's happening at the moment for us as authors on the road.
yeah.
Well, thanks again, Wendy. It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it really has. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.